Hi guys, welcome back to this amazing YouTube channel. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are good. So by now I know you guys will be knowing you guys must have known the video will be dropping today. The thing we'll be working on today, which is corset, two-piece corset cup. That's what we're going to be doing. Hand draft two-piece corset cup is what we're going to be doing in this channel. And I want you guys to know that this channel is basically for beginners. If you know you really want to learn how to sew and you don't have the money to enroll in a fashion home or in a fashion shop as an apprentice, you can make do with this channel. Like this where we teach in a very detailed and quite understandable manner. And also, I am not that kind of tailor that will come and start all these ambiguous teachings, -3 plus 4, you subtract here and there, and I just go straight to the point, and I use a very simple formula in teaching my stuff. That's what you're going to learn easily. The main thing is knowing how to sew, achieving a particular style with different format, like with easy format. So this is me. This is what I'll be using for these items. I'll be using my brown paper, my armhole curve, my ruler, my tape, my scissors, my pen. These are things I'll be needing to draft on this pattern, to mark on this pattern paper, and as well my measurement that will be needed for this two-piece corset class. I told you guys the first class we started was just a piece corset. We used the corset cup, a corset cup for it. In this class we'll be constructing our own corset cup, our own bra cup. So as you can see, I just minus my 6 inches there. I minus my 6 inches. You can see how my tape is being placed. Then the first thing I marked was my bust point, my shoulder to my bust point, my nipple point. That's what I marked, and I went ahead to mark my under bust, my half length, the my desired half length for this dress. These are the marks I just inserted here. So the next thing I'll be doing now, after inserting these marks, I went ahead to get my full length. That's the full length of my half length as well. After that, I'll then connect my mark my lines straight down. I'll just rule it straight, just the way you see me doing right now, just as you can see. So I'll be marking out my under bust, my half length, my bust point. So in drafting a two-piece corset, it's just as simple as drafting your straight dart bustier. It is very, very easy in this class. It is very easy to draft a two-piece corset, just the way you draft your straight dart bustier. Yeah, just how you draft your just straight part bustier. That is how we're going to draft our two-piece corset, our handy made corset cup, bra cup, whichever one you know it as. So here I was explaining my bust point, my under bust, my half length, all the explanations I did earlier. That is what I'm just doing here. I minus 6 inches, as you can see clearly, and then to get my bust point. Remember guys, how I normally get my bust point. If my bust point is 12, I did it 13, 14 15 underbar, this is 16, so that at the end of all the joining, sewing, everything, it becomes my actual measurement. This is what works for me. This is what I've been using for a very long time. Okay, so now I'm inserting my nipple to nipple measurements. That is what I'm marking. I'll just mark it 4.5 all the way down, and hope you guys know that this nipple to nipple measurement varies in shapes, in someone's shapes and in bust shape and size. It varies. It's not for the fact I use 4.5 doesn't mean every other person out there uses 4.5. Some use 3.5, some use 5. It depends on that person's nipple to nipple measurement. There's no standard formula to this. Don't ever agree to that. There is no standard formula in getting a nipple to nipple measurement. No standard formula. So let's move ahead. I just connected my lines. So what I'm doing now at this outer part, I marked what I came out by 1.5 inch. If you want, you can go as much as 2 inches right there, but I came out by 1.5, and I marked my line there. Then at the inner part as well, I came out by 1 inch. So what I just did now is to mark my lines. So I'm putting my ruler in a slant form to meet my bust point area. I'm putting my ruler in a slant. I'll take the camera close so you see what I'm doing there. So at this up part, I'll be coming in. I'll be going marking out half inch on the both sides, half inch on the right side and half inch on the other side. So I will then connect it from my bust point. As you can see the marking, I connected it from that bust point to get to that half inch part I marked at this upper place. That's my chest line. So at this side now, what I marked down here was 5 inches. I marked 5 inches there so that it will cover the side of my bust. It will cover the side of my bust properly. You can mark 4 inch there if you want. You can mark a 4.5. You can even mark 6 inches there if you want. It depends on the size of the person you're working for or how revealing you really want it to be. So I marked out 5 inches there and then my normal inch at the other side, which is just 4. Then here, what I did here next was in making your a corset dress, at that center part I marked out 1 inch, 1 inch at the center part. I don't know if you can. Anyway, I'll get my camera closer so you'll get to understand what I'm saying here. So I used my armhole curve to connect my line. The circumference of that is the circle part under my bust. That's what I'm trying to get here using my armhole curve to do that. I marked it, connected it to that 5 inches I came out with. I also did the same at the other side too. So at this my start line here, because I don't want my cleavage to show like that. Like I really do not want it to show. So at this point I came up by 3 inches. If you want you can come up by one, by two, by one, but I came up by three. I don't know if you can as well go up by, it depends, but the highest I've ever done was to come up by 3 inches, just the way I did it. So so I to cover the upper part of my bust well. So I came up by 3. So at this point I was telling my girl something. So this is the first part I made for another person. It's a small cup. So if you want to, if it's a small cup, and I decided to show her like if I should use this formula for this small person's own, you will notice that it's not up to the 3 inches I came up with for my own. It is not. I came up with 1.5 on this person's own. Then mine is 3. That is longer. My cup is bigger than this bra cup I just used to show her something, like to explain it further. it's bigger. So it depends on how you want it, how big you want your cups to be, or how covered you want your cup to be. You go up by that inch at the upper part, which is 3 inches, or 2, 1.5, 4. I have not done 4 before, so I can't really say for 4. So I just marked that 3 inches on a straight line. I just marked it on a straight line. So at the front, at the center part, I came down by 1 inch so that it will have a curve, like you will be able to differentiate the side and the center part of this. So that is what I did. And then at this side, I came down by half an inch to give it a nice circle, like kind of curvy shape, yeah, for the cup, kind of curvy shape for it. Then this side as well, our normal half an inch, we just have to connect it to our actual cup, our actual our new measurement for the cup, for the corset cup, for the bra cup we are working on. So I have to use my ruler now to slant to our new measurement. I don't know if you get this explanation, but I believe with time you get to see what I'm trying to explain and you will learn it much more better. I didn't even know that my video was not capturing that part. If I had known, I would have adjusted it, but not to worry. I'll still have to bring my camera close so you see what I am trying to say. That's why I like filming, making my videos when I'm alone. Like, I'll keep checking if the views are okay or not. But I was with my girl, so I was trying to teach her as well, and also make a video of this dress. That's why it's like this. But not to worry, I might as well make another video for you guys in case you don't understand this. But this is a very simple something to understand. Just pay close attention to what I'm doing and you understand it. So at this point, I was already inserting my measurements, my bust measurements, my added allowance. This allowance here at this middle part, I'll be replacing it back. It's just like the normal way on how you take your that measurement, or your princess that measurement, yeah. Anything you're minusing, cutting out, you're going to replace it back. That's what I'm doing at this point. Then that is it. After inserting my measurement, I'll just go ahead and cut it out. I'll connect my markings and then go ahead to cut them out. Then at this point, at the waist area, I did it like this basque waistline, this V basque waistline there. So I have to curve it at that region, at the waist um line area. So this is what I just did at this waist part. Then this my bust part. I told you I'll be going down by half an inch, and I also went ahead to mark minus half an inch at this upper part to connect to that 3 inches line. I went ahead, like I added at the top, so I had to do it and connect it to my cup. Then at this point I came down by half an inch or an inch thereabout. I then slanted it like this to give my cup, my center front, a shape. For the cup to have a shape, this is what I did. And my 5 inches extension there, then I added my sewing allowance, my actual measurement by the side, including my sewing allowance. Then here at my waistline I came down by 2 inches to slant it like this. So this is it for what I did at this part. Maybe you didn't see it very, it's clear, you didn't see that clear, it wasn't that clear. So that is just what I did, and I'll then go ahead to cut it out. I'll be making a video on this again so that maybe I'll get a marker for a lighter. That is, you have to see my markings clearly for a better understanding. But I believe with this as well, you'll be able to make out one or two corset, like two-piece corset. It is very easy. And remember, while cutting it out, make sure you mark it, like you name it, like your center front, put it, identify it as your center front and your side front, so you won't make mistakenly, as a beginner, you won't mistakenly put your center front by the side and the side front by at the center front. So I went ahead to mark, to give, I came out by 1/2 inch at the center front part and 1 inch at the side part, and then I marked out my corset cup, what I'll be using for my corset cup, my linings, my material, everything. And I also went ahead to mark out my back, to cut out my back part. So over to the sewing part. This pointed area will be joined like this. Make sure you placed it well so that you won't sew two left side together, or so. Make sure you place it well. Then you just have to sew it the way the markings are, but make sure you don't sew it too pointed. Let it not be too pointed. Yeah, so this is it. It was too pointed at the first stage, and I had to use my chalk to line it to give me a nice point, like a nice curve, a nice shape. So this is it when I was done sewing it. I haven't ironed it yet. This is how it looked, and at this point I have ironed it. Can you see the difference? So you need to learn how to iron as well. As a beginner, you don't have to joke with ironing. So I've also went ahead to iron my pepper gum to this on the material. I ironed my pepper gum on the material alone. I didn't iron on my lining because this is my practical work, like my YouTube video. I don't want to waste much of my material on this. So these are my cup cover, my corset cup cover I'll be using to cover the cup of the bra with the actual material, and I went ahead to iron it as well. So what I'll be doing now is to use my hemming gum. I'll place it on this and then place my actual fabric, use my iron to hold it down to the material. I used my iron to hold it down to the material, and after doing that I went ahead to sew it. I sewed it all around. The essence of that hemming gum is to give it a nice cover, like it won't have any folding and all of that. It won't be rough, it will be very neat. So I also went ahead to sew my lining and turned it up. As you can see, I did my turn up on the lining. There is no sewn part on the material. So now I'll be sewing on this part. As you can see, after sewing, I'll flip it over and cover the sides, everywhere. I'll sew every other part and turn it. Make sure you iron it well after sewing this part as well. After sewing this now, the next thing you'll be doing is to attach your bra cups. You just attach it. You either start from the middle or start from the side. Depends on how easy it is for you, how convenient it is for you to sew. So this is it. I was done sewing at this part, sewing the cup, attaching the cup to the dress. So this is the back part. I've also joined my lining. I went ahead to insert my back dart, which is 6.5 inch, and the depth there was also 6 inches down. That's what I did at the back. This is a 6.5, and then the the straight part also 6 inches. I sewed my lining and then had to place this by the side. I have to put my front and back part together. The next thing I'll do is to insert my actual measurement now divided into two. I will sew it by the sides of my clothes. So this is the down part of those dress, like the flare part of those dress. I cut out 9 inches material, 9 inches in length, and the width should be about two and a half width. And then I went ahead to pleat it. I'll be joining it at the down part of my dress after sewing. So this is it. I'll just go ahead and sew it. So I'll be attaching as a strap, like a hand sleeve to this. I'll be attaching a sleeve to this, and I went ahead to cut my sleeves of about 12 to 13 inches long. Yeah, 12 to 13 inches long of the straps I'll be adding for my dress. So I've also joined the down part of this dress. I've also joined the down part and inserted my zip as well. So the only thing we have left here is to attach our straps. These are my sleeves, like my straps. I'll be joining it here at this, from this point to this point. Make sure your measurement intake there is 5 inches. 5 inches thereabouts, 5 inches almost, 5 or 6, but 5 is the best. I used 5. So I measured from there to this point. That is where my sleeve, at that 5 inch is where my sleeve will start. Whichever, however width it, like how long it is, I don't care, but I start sewing at that 5 inches part. So if you have watched to this point, do well to like, share and subscribe. See how I'll be attaching my straps. I, at this sewn part, at the center part of my bust,